Some time ago, I suffered an injury that left me with a lot of pains in my hand and really affected its ability to grip or have weight put on it. And one of the things that really was affected by this is shooting a handgun, because of course there's a lot of recoil that just all goes into your hand. So for me, shooting handguns is really not fun at all. That is until I discovered this Antimatter Wing that attaches to my TLR7 HLX sub, and it is essentially a gas pedal. It's just an extra ledge that sticks out of your gun and allows your thumb to rest. And what I've found is that with this extra huge amount of gas pedal ledge, when the gun recoils, my thumb is just able to compensate for that and not so much having to hold everything in my hand so tightly, because again, I'm able to leverage this thing down and really effectively control the recoil of this gun. At the time when I was researching this Antimatter Wing and purchasing it, I did notice that there were a few other options, but decided to go with this one just because I had the light already and wanted to try this particular setup because it, again, offers the biggest amount of surface area for your thumb. Now, after trying and knowing how much I enjoyed the Antimatter Wing, I did decide to pick up another product just to give it a try to see which would really work better for me. And the one that I decided to go with is the grip control from Black Steel. Now for this video, I simply want to give you a quick comparison of these two products, really my initial impressions, because I've had this one for about 3 months and this one just came the other day. I haven't even live fired it yet, but I can already tell which one I kind of like more, and I definitely have some opinions on the two. First, let's talk about the general design, fit and finish, and just, the overall feel of the two products. First off, let's talk about the Antimatter Wing, which again attaches to your weapon mounted light, and in my particular situation is the Streamlight TLR7 Sub HLX. And the wing just replaces one of the mounting brackets, the clamp that actually goes onto your rail. And this particular setup, I would say, works pretty well, because with this, the gun is shorter, so the light sits closer, and with the wing being so large, my hand can essentially sit along the entire, what would be this textured section where your thumb would normally rest on this particular firearm. Now in this situation, the wing is very much so dependent on the light. If they don't make a wing that matches a light that you want, you really can't do anything about it. You just can't use this thing. But if you do have a setup that you like, I think it actually works very well. This is a very thin and minimal setup. Well, it's minimal in terms of thin, it's actually very big, but it is very minimal. And in terms of putting it in a holster, I really found that there is no issues. If you go with this and you have some issues with holster compatibility, really all you have to do is put the wing into your holster and heat it up with a heat gun, put some pressure on it so that the holster molds around this wing. So it's pretty straightforward, and same goes for the grip control if you have that issue. Moving on to the grip control from Black Steel. And in my personal opinion, once I got this thing in hand, it was like a night and day difference in terms of build quality, in terms of just perceptual quality, because the grip control is milled to a higher degree. I mean, it has designs and whatnot to it, and the steel itself is thicker. It feels like it's not going to snap off, whereas with the grip control, if you just like hold it and push it up and down, you can see that there's some flexing. Well, actually right now with this, there's like little to no flexing at all, even when I'm really cranking down on it. So again, perceived quality, I would say, is better with the Black Steel. And like I said earlier with the Antimatter Wing, that's very much so dependent on your weapon light. With the Black Steel grip control, this is dependent on your gun, because it replaces the takedown lever that's on whatever gun that you're buying this thing for, whatever compatible gun. And with that, I would say that because again, the milling is so nice, with this particular grip control that's made for the shadow systems, the grip control is actually milled in a way where it forms around the frame. Like you can actually see it lining up with the various grooves inside of the frame itself. However, because they went with this approach, milling everything to match the frame itself, I don't know if this applies to all other grip control that's mounted onto other types of guns, but I can say that for sure on this Shadow Systems MR920, doing it this way essentially makes your takedown and reassembly of your firearm, or at least the slide, very much so different. And unfortunately, I can't show you that on camera because YouTube doesn't want people taking apart guns and showing you how to use it essentially. So they will demonetize my video, which I don't want them to do. So Black Steel themselves have made a tutorial on how to, essentially put this thing, install it, and then how to take down and reinstall your slide. And in my personal opinion, this particular design, because of just the way that you have to take down and reassemble your slide, it's much more complicated than if you were to take down a traditional Glock slide. And I personally just absolutely hate it. The instructional video makes it look simple, but I can personally say that from my experience that trying to take my slide off is very inconsistent. I can take this slide off sometimes to most of the time. Like it's honestly a gamble at some point. I'll just sit here for like a couple minutes trying to take this slide off because it's continually getting stuck on the Black Steel, because again, there's a very specific way that you have to maneuver this grip control just to get your slide off. And again, the video makes it look easy, but once you get in practice, it's a very finite amount of movement for you to actually get your slide off. And you just have to try it to know how asinine and how annoying that is. So in terms of install and kind of ease of use in that general category, I would say that I'll have to give the point to the Antimatter Wing, just because, like I said, it just mounts onto your light. It has nothing to do with your gun, your frame, takedown, or anything like that. Everything works as the gun that you bought typically would work. With this, there is some change and some training that you have to do just to disassemble your gun and reassemble it. Now, in terms of actual use, like I said, I've used this for a couple months. This I've only dry fired with, but I can already tell that there is a major difference for my personal type of shooting. Now with the Wing, of course, the Wing attaches to your light, and there are different lights that are compatible with the Wing. It just depends on which one you go with. But I would assume that on a longer frame gun like the MR920, which is like a Glock 19, this CR920X is like a Glock 43X. On a shorter frame gun like this, as you can see, when I go to purchase this thing, my thumb is essentially all the way to the front, and that's kind of is how I shoot in general with the CR920X. I'm pretty far forward, and in terms of thumb placement, I would say that the Antimatter Wing is much better for people who like to have their thumb more straightforward like that, because the Wing itself is at essentially almost parallel to the frame itself, so your thumb just naturally wants to sit pretty straight with just a very slight angle. So if you like to have thumb forward, more flat, this is going to be the better option. With the grip control, it's a much more obvious and extreme angle, where as you can see earlier, my thumb was more flat. Here, my thumb essentially, the pad of my thumb is resting against the grip control at a almost 45-degree angle essentially. And the thing with the grip control is that it comes in multiple sizes, which adjusts the distance of this ledge, this pedal. And this particular one is a size 2. A size 1 would bring the ledge closer to your trigger, and then a size 3 would bring it further away. With this one, like I said, I went with a size 2, and I personally think that I made a mistake and should have gone with a size 3. And of course, having multiple options does allow for that error. So I would say that when I put my finger on this thing, it feels slightly uncomfortable just because I like to have my thumb more flat in general, but because it's at an angle, everything kind of gets pushed back a little bit. So for me, I'm just feeling that I'm a little bit too cramped right here, at least compared to what I'm usually used to. So a size 3 where I'm just a edge bit of an inch further away would probably be better for me. So as far as choosing between the two, I would highly suggest for you to just look at your thumb when you naturally grab your gun and grip it. Is your thumb going to be more straight or angled? And that's really going to help you decide between the two products. So at this point, like I said, the grip control has only recently arrived. I've only dry fired with it, but I can already tell that with just the way that I grip a gun, I like the Antimatter Wing more. It's just more comfortable. But of course, there are drawbacks to both. It just depends on, do you want to run a weapon light? Do you want something that integrates into your actual firearm in terms of molding around the frame? Even though that comes with, a different way to take down and reassemble your gun. It just depends on what you're looking for. There are drawbacks, positives and negatives to both systems. And hopefully this video has helped you out a little bit. So if you have any questions, please leave it down in the comments below and I'll do my best to try to help you out. But these two products, unfortunately, are very much so, you gotta try it for yourself to see if it actually works. And hopefully you'll be able to catch them on a sale, because I've seen them around holidays. Usually both goes on sale, and that's how I got these. So, just try them out for yourself. You might be out $100, but in either case, really, even if you don't like them and you continue to run them, they're going to help you with your recoil no matter what. Just logically, having that extra surface area for your thumb to rest on, it's just going to improve your recoil control no matter what. So again, I hope this video has helped you out in some way. If you have any questions, also just leave it down below and I'll do my best to answer it for you. But until then, I'll catch you guys in the next one.